Gaurav Bhatia, I want to come to you first. The history of Indian politics suggests that every single time any leader has been targeted by investigating agencies, more often than not, he is able to garner public sympathy, that the voters typically tend to think that a leader is being targeted because the government of the day didn't like him, and it's benefited many leaders and parties in the past. Does the BJP run the risk in this concerted action by investigative agencies of actually turning Kejriwal into some kind of a martyr and helping him get public sympathy? Let's start from there with Gaurav Bhatia.
Rahul, first of all, let us understand that when Narendra Modi ji was elected as the Prime Minister of the country, every citizen had a lot of expectations from him, and they felt here is an honest man who will clean up the system. And the policy and the mantra of this government has been zero tolerance for corruption, eradicating corruption from the country. Now, whether if action is taken against an alleged corrupt leader will result into political gains or not can be a subject matter of another debate. But I will tell you, the Bharatiya Janata Party believes that people of India want honest politicians who are dedicated to the cause of the common man rather than indulging in deeds of corruption. So that brings me to the first point. My first point would be, Rahul, we all remember how Arvind Kejriwal entered Indian politics on the plank of eradicating corruption. मैं corruption को खत्म कर दूंगा. Today, should the same standard not be applied to Arvind Kejriwal, who had said that even if there are charges of corruption, a person should resign from his post? So I think Arvind Kejriwal, now is the time to resign from the post of the Chief Minister, because it was under your influence only, under your diktat, that this liquor policy was implemented. Second, is Arvind Kejriwal above the law of the country? When the Supreme Court, in its judgment rejecting bail of Manish Sisodia, has clearly stated that prima facie there are serious charges against the former Deputy CM who was called Kattar Imandar but turned out to be Kattar Baiman, then why should Arvind Kejriwal not be questioned?
Okay, so you've set the ground for the debate. I'll come back to you, Gaurav Bhatia, in just a moment for more. I want to go across to Jasmine Shah and get the first comments from him. The question that's being asked by the BJP, by the Congress and others is Arvind Kejriwal above the law? When the Enforcement Directorate summoned him, why did he not just come and present himself to the ED, answer the questions of the ED? And if he is indeed a Kattar Imandar, then there would have been nothing to worry about. The fact that he chose to skip the ED summons, as Navjot Singh Sidhu puts it, suggests that chor ki dadi mein tinka, that he's running away for the investigative agencies. Jasmine Shah.
Rahul, I'll answer your question in just a moment. I want to start by posing a question to Gaurav Bhatia. And for your viewers, this is something very interesting, because 9 years back when Prime Minister Modi became Prime Minister, he promised that he'll eradicate corruption. Now it's been 9 years that he's been a Prime Minister. He's been one of the most powerful Prime Ministers the country has seen. Let's ask the question that so far, how many corruption scams the investigation has been concluded, people have been convicted and put behind bars? You tell us, in 9 years, how many corruption scams have you unearthed? And trial shuru hone se kuch nahi hota hai. These are all political trials. You have to conclude, a court has to hold guilty and you have to imprison people. Number two, coming to Aam Aadmi Party, in the last 8 years or 9 years that we have been ruling in Delhi, Rahul, 170 cases have been filed against Aam Aadmi Party leaders. So we have also been, analyzed and scrutinized from every single way. Not one of these cases has resulted in a conviction. Even in this fake liquor scam that BJP has been alleging for 2 years, for the last 2 years, 1,000 raids have taken place, 500 witnesses have been summoned. Not a single rupee of recovery, not a single rupee evidence of single rupee being, there with any Aam Aadmi Party leader, be it Manish Sisodia or anybody else. Therefore, now coming to the question of why did Mr. Kejriwal not respond to the ED summons today? See, we appreciate that CBI and ED are investigative agencies of the country. In fact, Mr. Kejriwal was summoned by CBI in April and he appeared and there was 9 hours of questioning. But that doesn't mean that they do not operate by law. Any investigative agency has to function within the bounds of law. There has to be checks and balances. Mr. Kejriwal asked a simple question, that there is a very serious interpretation of political influence in this summons. Why? Because the day Mr. Sisodia, so far the ED was quiet, but the day Mr. Sisodia's bail order was declined by the Supreme Court, in a few hours, all the top-notch BJP leaders started saying, "Ab inko ED ka summons aayega aur ED arrest karegi." What happens? In a few hours, ED summons actually arrives.
Okay.
Even today, when Mr. Kejriwal responded to ED did not give any statement. It is the BJP that did a press conference and said, these are the questions that ED will ask. So the question is ED today really a neutral agency? We have no problems with investigation by the ED. We will appear. But today, the manner in which this was done, it was completely cooked up as a political move.
Okay.